these, I'll just talk a little bit about Digital Village first to kind of give it some context. But the purpose of these meetups is essentially for specialists and business owners to come together to share and to learn from each other and to connect, and for us to create teams and meet people and hang out as well. So the way that we do that is by running these events, and we have some kind of value that we give, and then we hang out afterwards. So tonight I'm going to be talking about asking. It was primarily based for business owners and how they have challenges conveying what they need from a business sense into kind of technical instructions for developers. Because as a lot of you could appreciate, it's quite frustrating sometimes trying to understand what the client needs when they don't know what they need, they don't know what they're talking about. So Luke is going to run through essentially just the basics on how web works, and to provide some kind of insights for the business owner around how things work and how it can relate to what the practicality of the business and how they kind of relate to each other. But given that there isn't actually any business owners here tonight, and we're all technologists, it's actually an opportunity for us to collect. We're going to kind of brainstorm, we're going to expand on the content, we're going to capture it here, and we're going to share it as well. So I'll introduce Luke first. So Luke has a 20+ year professional background as a software engineer. He's been running projects with Digital Village for the last over a year now, right? In a producer capacity. And he's also the Digital Village CTO. So I'll just quickly touch on what the producer is first, because it's quite an important part of what we're going to get into. The producer is, who's actually familiar, who'd like to try and explain what the producer is? Yeah, Irene?
It's basically a project manager, and sometimes that role kind of leads into like a product manager, which is like the owner of the thing that you're creating, whether that's a website or an app. So it's basically the person who coordinates all the activities required to make the project happen, decides what's the best approach from a workflow point of view, decides who the best people are to work on that project, and if you're talking about an agency-client relationship, they're also the ones that communicate with the client and the ones that have contact with the client.
Exactly. So it's really the customer-facing person to the client and the producer's quite a unique character, because they're a type of person who is technically strong, so understands technology and has that background, but actually has the capacity or the empathy to understand people and what they're saying even when they don't know what they're talking about, and make it useful, and then also have business acumen to apply it, to understand what they're trying to achieve from a business perspective, understanding their goals, and then doing what they, it's like a consultant, it's like a trusted advisor. And like Arena said, they play many different hats. They wear different hats depending on what the project is. It might be a product manager, it might be a product owner, be it a CTO, delivery lead, a business analyst, yeah. So it depends on what the project is and what the client needs. They wear different hats, and that's why we kind of came up with this generic term, the producer. I think a few people confused a few people, but we had to call it something. Anyway, so it's relevant to this because what Luke is going to be talking, what we all will be talking about actually, is how do we extract that information from customers in a way that is not going to scare the hell out of them, and make it be useful for them, and then actually be able to take that information and relay it to the team of developers and so on. So
we originally called this night was like a digital survival guide for startup founders. As Jason said, we've got no startup founders here, so what it's really going to be is an opportunity for us to talk about and maybe contribute knowledge, experience and information to these kinds of issues that come up repeatedly when we're dealing with a customer who's not necessarily from a technical background. Because the thing is, when we're working with Digital Village, and we're often working with startup founders, often they're not coming from a technical background. But I always kind of say they're, even if they're not technicians, they're in the technology business now. And because of that, they are largely, we help them as much as we can, but they are largely responsible for many of the technical aspects of their business that come up over time. And some of these things are small tactical changes they can make in the way that they do things that will help them in the future, in the long run. And really what I gave it this name, like the digital survival guide, it was things that I talk to every customer about nearly all the time. And so these are kind of sick of talking to customers about. Not that it's ever going to stop, but so these are the sorts of things that I wish they all knew somehow. Anyway, and because they are involved in the technical business, and the context that they're performing that in is the internet, which is this very large and chaotic system with like lots of big players that want things from everybody and want to control parts of it in their own way. And the question is, what can a founder, a small business owner do to control certain things about their business? What do they actually have control over? And one of the first things I wanted to talk about was the way that they understand software development. Because, again, many of them are getting involved in software development for the first time, and it's like this box that they put time and money into, and it's a black box, they can't see into it, they don't know what's going on in there, and then things sort of like come out the bottom of it, and what those things might turn out to be, they don't really know until they see them, and then they don't really know how to evaluate them when they see them either. So, what I was going to do was run all of those startup founders who haven't turned up through an exercise that many introductory programmers go through. I say many, I've been asking a lot of people about this. I'm at about 50-50 so far for people who've done an exercise like this, for people who've actually had like formal training. But it's an exercise where we teach a robot how to make a cup of tea. And I assume we're all familiar with how to make a cup of tea. We've got a kettle, and a cup, and a tea bag. Yep, okay. And so, I guess I've got all these handouts. I think we'll just write it up. We'll call out like what we think the steps for that might be. So, if we want to do this, first of all, how long? If we're going to write out the steps for a robot to make a cup of tea, how long do you think that would take, roughly, in minutes?
So write a plan, or
just to write out the steps involved.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, so we've got 5 on one side, and we've got 20 on the other. Anybody else? Yeah. You see, this is the thing with having a bunch of technical folks in the room. They know what's coming. You see, and the very first thing that somebody who hasn't done this before, they're going to say, well, like boil kettle, right? And then you're going to say, put tea bag in cup, and so on. And they're gonna work through that. They're gonna get to the bit where they put the boiling water in the kettle, and when we say, well, this robot, we can see the robot here is an awesome robot. He's a very like domestically oriented guy. He's got vacuum cleaners for feet and like a washing machine, tummy and everything. But so obviously very well suited to this task, and we'd specify in this exercise that he has awesome computer vision. He can like see a chair, know that it's a chair, and see a bottle and know that it's a bottle. He doesn't know what a chair is for. He doesn't know what a bottle is for, right? So then we say, well, boil the kettle. What do we have to do when we boil a kettle? Well, first we might have to fill the kettle.
First you've got to get it.
Yeah, well, we kind of make a little, because this is the thing about these assumptions, right? Because it gets back to a way of talking about assumptions, talking about complexity, hidden complexity as well. And as a bit of a gimme, we'd say, we'll give the robot a kettle and a cup and a tea bag. And, so we're going to say, fill the kettle. And then we're going to switch it on. Like that, right? And then we're going to come down to, well, when we want to fill the kettle, how do we do that? So then it's like, oh man. And so we're going to have to like take this down here and say, oh, we're going to like turn the tab on. We could get into how that happens. How do we know when the kettle's full? How do we know that the water is running at a sufficient speed, and all of these things. And so most people who don't come from a technical background will write it out at this sort of like level of complexity, right? But people who have been involved in software development, they're like, the thing is, you don't see all of this straight away the first time, right? When you look at it the first time, it's just like, we all see this, but we've all been burnt often enough by saying, we just do this, that we all go, oh yeah, we have to think about this, we have to think about that, and we have to work through this step over here, and go through all of that, basically, to arrive at the position of, well, this is going to be like a massive list of activities for our, robot to execute, so that, we can get a nice hot cup of tea at the end of it. And that's fine. That's just, and a lot of people will feel like, oh man, I said 5 minutes and it's taking 20 minutes, it's taking 40 minutes, it's taking 60 minutes. How many software projects does that sound like? Where,
4.
Yeah, that's right, no? It's just so typical of so many software projects that we say it's going to take this much time and it takes 3 or 4 times as much as that. So, and which is like all of these things coming out, as we work through a project. And to a client, that's horrific, of course, right? Because they might have some business need that says, we need this thing delivered in like 5 minutes. And it's, beyond 4 or 5 times as much as that now. Our business is suffering because this project isn't being delivered. So the client says, well, what do we do about it? This is like old news to everybody, obviously. And the thing is, it's all, if we're dealing with clients, it's kind of our job to, educate them about this, because there's no way we can have a happy outcome. They're either going to see a project and with a budget that's going to give them sticker shock. They're like, oh my God, it's $10,000. I thought it was going to take 20 minutes. Or they're going to see like a nice budget and then get something they don't like at the end of it. So really, as people who deliver technical projects to clients, well, I guess the first question is, why for somebody who doesn't do this normally, why do they have so much trouble with an imaginary kettle, an imaginary teacup and cup and tap and everything? Why is that so much trouble for them, whereas if they're in their kitchen, they would just like go off and do it all in like less than 5 minutes, 2 minutes. So what's the difference between doing it that way and
Well, if you're instructing a computer to do it for you, the computer can't make human-based assumptions on how things might be done. So
Yeah.
it has to be instructive.
Yeah. But
Do every little bit.
yeah, that's right.
There's
But
dependencies, right?
yeah, there's dependencies, but the thing is that we're continuously prompted by our physical world and our knowledge surrounding that.
Yeah.
And that continuous prompting we get gets us out of trouble a lot. We don't, because a lot of the assumptions we can explore around this is, you were saying, find the kettle. We could ask, is our teacup full? Is it dirty? Is it broken? Does our kettle work? Is the power on? All of these things that we have to go through to work out, how we get to our cup of tea every single time without trouble. We all know this. We can do it. A robot can't, because it has none of that contextual information that we use to guide our activities. And the thing is that with our clients, it kind of works in the opposite way for us as well, because they are often deeply involved in their business on a day-to-day level, and even if it isn't up and running yet, there's bootstrapping a startup and we're making the product. And so the business isn't there yet, but they're going to be, years deep in the business plan and talking to potential customers and doing all their market research and everything. That's a very real and tangible thing, and they're going to be constantly prompted, I think, by that contextual information that they've developed about their business. And then they turn around to us with this idea for a product or a service or something like that. And we're kind of in the position of the robot, right? We have none of that contextual information that they've come to us with. Over time, the more that we work with people in different kinds of businesses, we kind of develop this template for thinking about businesses, right? Who's the customer? Where does the money come from? What do they actually do to create value, in the business, and how are we making that happen? But still, there's a lot of unknowns that we don't have. So, if I was a programmer, I would be, to uncover assumptions about something, we would tend to look at everything that's involved in that business. In this case, we're using our kettle. And go through different kinds of states that the kettle can be in. Can it be, on, this market is not like that, off, empty, full, and so on. And we can go down and list all the states. And this is the sort of thing that we, as a programmer, I would do to keep me out of trouble with using some particular thing that's maybe very familiar to me, and a way of thinking through all the states that it can be in, and then you can account for those. And I guess with a client and understanding their business, we go through a similar sort of discussion. I certainly tend to ask questions. Will this particular, say this product ever have a price of $0? Will it ever be negative? Will it ever be, we ask these kinds of questions to uncover these assumptions. And I was wondering, since that we don't have any founders here to interrogate or to tease with this kind of exercise, because it is a bit of a gotcha kind of exercise. You have to be nice when you go through it, because it can make people go oh man, I didn't know that thing. I didn't realise there was so much involved here. So instead of us doing that to somebody in that position, what I would ask things which you do in, give this as an opportunity for us to pool our knowledge and help each other out with the sort of things that we do to work with clients. What would you do to uncover assumptions about clients' business, about understanding what they want to achieve, about what their goals are, and how they think about their business? So maybe starting off, I'm just going to get all this kettle business out of the way. It'd be nice if, anybody could suggest like something that they do during a conversation, or even when they're like working to a technical specification or something like that, or a brief, to think about what assumptions might be involved in that, and how we might uncover them, how we might ask questions.
I think it's like with your pedal analogy, I think it's like when you make a cup of tea in someone else's house.
Yeah.
Where's the kettle? Where are the bugs? Where's the tea?
Yeah.
So, kind of just finding out those foundations first, and then building on that.
Yeah.
Because,
for
they would assume that because it's their house.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, the cups are in there.
So it's like asking the right types of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Build, like getting those questions down pat first, knowing the foundation, and then just building on that.
Which is a good point. Like, what types of questions are we really?
Yeah.
We found that are a really useful way or effective way to get information from people in a way that we can kind of interpret in a meaningful way, but is kind of common sense to them.
What seems to simple to them.
Yeah. Does anybody have or had, a little sadly, a granddad who was unable to make their own cup of tea or something because grandma ruled the kitchen? Yeah? No?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing, right? To like going to the kitchen and like if grandma's out or something, granddad goes in the kitchen to make a cup of tea.
There's no idea where to start.
I don't think I haven't seen that, encountered that in my generation or even my parents' generation, but my grandparents' generation,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, going, just say assumptions, but it could be when somebody comes to you and say, wow, I've got this idea for a business, and it's going to be like, the Uber for pet grooming or something like that, and they're saying to you, I really want you to design or code or organize a team for building this website. What are the sorts of things that you would ask to get the ball rolling on understanding, what they want to achieve and how they want to run their business, make their money?
I've had a lesson with me with a recent client.
Yeah.
Was they come to me with ideas it's a copywriting strategy. And so I heard of what you guys like, we need that for our business. Can you help us? And we started planning out what we're going to do, what I can do for them, and getting really excited. But I started to notice that she wasn't that excited about some of the things I was getting excited about. And I took it back a step and and it comes down to technicalities as well. What do you want from your website? What's the point of your website? Because for SEO, I guess it's more about that marketing perspective, going out and trying to generate leads and customers, and like, oh no, we don't need that. We've got so much business, it's not funny. Okay, we need to take it back a step. So what do you need from me? So what do you need for your website? We had gone down such a long path already when we should end up in the drawing board originally and none of that was assumptions. So what exactly do you want to achieve from this product? And for her, they just wanted to have a professional storefront that was good. So they already had their customers, they already had their leads. They just wanted to, when they look them up, or they just have a bit of credibility online, which they could do that through design and maybe a bit of copywriting, but they didn't need what I was providing, which is the more marketing aspect of it. And we spent a couple of weeks talking, and it was not letting go for me. But she was just so excited because she just assumed that she needed what I was offering.
Yeah.
And I assumed that because she wanted what I was offering, that's what she wanted, that marketing lead generation. I know we work too much business and a lot of relationships, a lot of business comes from word of mouth and relationships, and okay, so now we're going to invest this much. And I just ended up doing we're going to put copyright and stuff just to make it sound good, but
Yeah.
Like really the basic version.
Yeah. And is that also, do you think, a situation where that client doesn't understand the specifics of what you do?
I
as well?
originally thought that, and so
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to have to really sell the benefits of what I did. But I had to be honest, because I didn't need, like, I didn't want to work with someone that didn't understand anything about it.
Mhm.
And I was trying to tell them, like, if you want to get to a market or you want to, bring it to the customer or scale or whatever, you have to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. No, don't want that. And it wasn't really, they thought they could do better sort of thing. Like, oh, you've got that covered, like, you don't need that. No, you know what, then let me help you in that way. So,
Yeah.
and for me, it wasn't the right fit.
Yeah.
It was all about, we both got to that point because of the assumptions we both made as a customer and
Yeah.
like, service providers.
Sure. Would you ever, like, with a client in that situation? Because when we talk about, like, were they like a local service providing things just in a local sort of
Yeah,
sphere?
and this guy was trained as well, so
Yeah, okay.
it was more of a learning curve moment for me. I can imagine in other situations, and I have been with like other clients before where they're like, oh, I just want to do this and this. Like, you want to do this and you should actually go do this.
Yeah.
And that it's about, like you said, educating them and selling that aspect of it so that they understand, because
Especially SEO, it's not exactly.
yeah, I just check my website, you're like, oh, it doesn't work like that. Like what you said in the box.
Yeah.
Put all the label box and then things come and I don't know what I put that into.
Yeah, that's right.
And the
It's
other
exactly
Yeah.
misconceptions about talking about SEO, there's a lot of misconceptions about it.
Yeah.
What it is and not. There's a lot of agencies that offer just the technical side or the fancy tracking side, but I'm more on the marketing side. Like SEO is a tactic. Yeah, sometimes it's about explaining the benefits of it to them and why it matches their, like, understanding their business goals and their motivations. And even if they think, no, we want to do AdWords and we want to write ebooks and this and that, to achieve A, but like, in my opinion, to achieve A, fully can get more of a return on it. That comes down to your relationship and maintenance.
Yeah. Would you ever, in that situation when clients talking about like an SEO, maybe not AdWords and things, but like more like an SEO investment, would you talk to them about, well, for immediate term, short-term goals, maybe that's not the thing we want, but for like long-term growth,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
something that would be
I've read it
important.
almost like a foundation. It's like setting a foundation up. If you're going to create a website and you're not going to pay any attention to SEO aspect of it, then it's like creating a website that has this line. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm going to create a website and send it to Siberia. And, it's not the point. So, but there's no.
You send it to Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, we're hard way in dark one because no one's going to see.
Yeah.
But if you can build your website properly and lay on the right foundations to set your marketing up, that's, it takes time and it can be incorporated into paid marketing and all those sort of things. So it's just about selling the long-term foundation.
Yeah, okay. But interestingly, one of the last thing I wanted to talk about for this session to our non-existent founders was exactly that. Like, what do we do with our website to at least not confuse search engines about what the intention of the site is and what it's about and everything like that. And it's interesting you talk about that black box. I always assumed it was just like, the programming or the software development world that has that black box. It was kind of like a box of nerds, time and money go in and stuff comes out, but of course it's probably going to exist
Definitely,
everywhere, right?
Yeah. People don't know what they need, so it's your job to find what they need.
Yeah.
And they think they want a solution, but maybe they won't.
It's also good to not leave down the garden path as well, because you might find out after talking to them that you can't actually provide what they need. Or go, okay, you know what, I don't actually need this service for you, but maybe this is what you need for now to get to that stage. So that depends on service you might provide.
Yeah, I think that's great because whatever we can, even if the client give us money now if it doesn't harm us to provide them with value. So there's no reason like not to do that. Certainly makes us very attractive to them in the future, and builds that relationship and everything like that.
I think a big part of it too, in my experience, is it's an expectation and software.
Yeah.
Both in terms of dealing with software development in general, because it is a risky business in all ways. But also expectation of what they want to get out of the product. Because I've had many experiences where you sit down with people and you start to talk about it, and everyone gets really excited. Let's do it. What do we get to do? And how about this? What about this? Grow exponentially very quickly. So I think it's about trying to, in their best interests,
and
shoot for an MVP or something to start with.
How would you sell somebody on an MVP? Because everybody gets excited about like the product, don't they? There's something this, it's an amazing thing, and it's going to go and revolutionise, this part of the industry. But really, what they want is, this little clunky thing that's going to prove that they could possibly revolutionise the industry.
I think something that helps with that is steering in the other direction of agile type of development methodologies, because that to me reduces a lot of the risk around that.
Yeah.
Just in the sheer nature of how it works.
Yeah, I think that's really great.
When I first got into this industry years ago, we were using waterfall and stuff like that, which was at the start, you wanted to know exactly what the end product's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's finished, and that's just not realistic in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I think we go to six people and explain to them how agile works without going into ridiculous detail. So okay, let's start here. Let's try and get a minimum viable product. This is the functionality we want. You're going to have to assume that there's going to be stuff even in that you've missed or correctly added.
Yeah.
It's, I think, a really risk, in a lot of ways, a risk management exercise.
Yeah, okay. So, just in terms of, maybe assumptions isn't the best word for this, maybe expectations is better, because we've talked about, what you were dealing with the client and uncovering, what their intentions were. And, I think a large part of, because as we were saying, a digital village producer is like a PM and like a product owner or manager, and also relationship manager as well, because they're the person who's dealing directly with the client and dealing with their ups and downs, and as they see how their product is progressing and coming out, and then even after it's been delivered, what's happening with it? Is it performing the way they want it to? If they've built the perfect thing, is like turning up on the site, all these sorts of things like that. So, in terms of setting expectations, what would you say to somebody to convince them that an MVP is like a really good idea, and that agile, incremental approach is a good way to go?
I had an experience as well.
Yeah.
And she's actually she's a mom, and she started selling meditation cookies. And yes. So
First time to me.
Sorry. Yes. But the ones that making them look So basically, what she found was, so originally she had gone and decided, I'm going to have a website, I'm going to have a Facebook page. And I think at that point, I guess somebody explained to her around things like, okay, where are you going to use your customers from? Yeah. And what she found was there was actually referrals on Facebook saying, hey, I've used this person before, that'd be good. And that's how she actually got the customers.
Yeah.
So she found over time that nobody really contacted for the website. It's actually through Facebook, and she actually got these customers, and she had a conversation with others. So I think it's also just kind of saying, okay, how about we try this first and see how we go, and let's see how the feedback and results from the customers around this one iteration, and go from there. And what's happening, just say, how about it's this, let's do a Facebook page, and just
So, like what we're saying, so what you're saying there is maybe convince somebody to look at a low risk option that would tell them about whether they're going in the right direction or not. Yeah, so that's kind of like the whole agile incremental thing, even though I think lots of agile projects don't feel like low risk, but the idea is that we build it in a way that shows us that we're on the right track. You know,
it's like there's quite a series of questions that I think it's from like lean startup, but it's essentially, you know, how do you know that that's going to work? And then once you start iterating, what did you learn and how do you know that? So then it's like kind of making sure that the client, you know, they're not just kind of basing on what they do have to support it. And then so, okay, if you're unsure about that, how can we test that? And that kind of becomes the first step. Because otherwise, you know, like, well, if I'm just trying to think of an example. Well, yeah, so for example, it was a pretty cool one where they wanted to build this site. It was a big site. They had an idea for a new market. And they're like, okay, but how do you know that that market is actually there? How do you know that you're not going to be, you know, wasting all this money by building an expensive website just on a whim? So what we did, or what Thomas actually did, was it's just a bunch of research based on search terms for these particular products and things like that, just to make sure that people are searching for this. So just to make sure that the volume is there, that it makes sense, people are actually looking for this. And then the next step is actually, rather than, you know, the next step of testing and validation is rather than building a whole complete website yet still, just setting landing pages, doing paid ads. It's like a low cost and very effective way to, just to validate the concept.
Definitely a good point, but also you think about that when you what do you want to achieve from your product? I think you can uncover a lot of information unless it's so much capitalist. You can uncover a lot by just asking the story about how did you come up with this product? What problem you were facing that kind of sparked this interest in building this product or service. So you kind of get the point where it actually started.
Because often what comes out, what I've found in the past, what comes out is once you start doing some analysis on how the product should work, the client starts to realise that it's not working well in the original. Or they're not even sure what they're actually trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So they may be completely different business strategy based on business requirements.
So it would be useful to ask them, how do you measure whether you have achieved your goal? Right. So first thing, what do you want to achieve, and how do you measure, how do you distinguish between success and failure? What is success? Like you want to increase your customer base by 100 customers, 1,000 customers. What is the number?
And what action are you taking to achieve?
People like speak on the last session about accounting pitch. It'd be really interesting to compose and say, if you were to give a accounting pitch, what would you say? And then you've got an idea of how they pitch their business externally. So then that's you getting firsthand how they see their business and what the product is that they're delivering. And you go, okay, great. So that's the story you're going to tell. How there's this issue and telling the solution, and then also the data validation, whether measuring the system there is to say, well, so then you get that first-hand insight how they see it.
And also, interesting doing it that way, like starting to solve a problem, and trying to figure out what gap they're trying to fill or what they're trying to solve. And it's not necessarily actually going to make that. I think a lot of people don't have an actual brief. Like I couldn't believe it was a brief because saying, for example, scroll that I just think this website is so good. But they haven't actually thought through the details themselves. So you can actually guide them by even sending them like a list of questions into the basic report. And once they start thinking about it, they will at least start to shape that brief for you, and then that gives you an idea of what questions to ask to expand on that brief as well. But they will come up with gaps themselves, and I'll actually work to fill those gaps, and you can work with them to fill those gaps. Yeah.
The other thing I found is the way they do now, in terms of, so they have some people that not be able to do things where they come with something that kind of is, some people are kind of in the throes of business and actually doing stuff. So see what are they doing now, and what things, what are the problems that they're finding in that community, and what they want to solve. So it's good to know.
What's already working?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Okay, so
I've seen many clients who make sure solutions. They think that we are doing this, then this problem will be solved and we got customers. So that's the most difficult part I've seen. They simply assume based on information they get from other people or based on the financing that they want through all their discussions. They think that we are doing this website.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a common, particularly technical people. I think in terms of the technical product, right?
Yeah.
Forget all that marketing.
The people don't think about the marketing part. They think that okay, I'll build this, then the business is there. Yeah, business. People come to me.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the most quoted terms in like the SEO world is the assumption that you build it, then you come, and that is just give it to them.
That's
very untrue.
And that's another assumption. Okay, I build a website, then I'll do SEO, then
Release. And say it's released.
then everything is fine.
That's right.
And they,
And if people like witness the profound anxiety of somebody releasing their products into the world for the first time, because it's like it's quite significant, isn't it? Because people feel like they're going to be like evaluated and judged based on that product, how it looks and how it works and what it does, and every thing on it. And it's kind of crushing to see like one or two visitors to be honest.
I think like you said where, I don't know that waterfall system that you're talking about, but presumably it's like there's a result at the end and you know what it's going to look like, is that right?
Yeah, theoretically,
yeah. But it's a moving piece, I think, because you're trying out something, it's like, that didn't work, you know, it should fix, or like, update that. But then move with the times or move with however the trends are, or, you know, they might think this is a great product, it's kind of like you said that fix, but then it goes live and it's triggers,
yeah. So I started working in the Luke world as well, and the consultancy that I worked for a long time. And actually kind of managed to succeed with that because it was done with a lot of the just kind of do a lot of the agile things anyway, which is getting the client size on frequently, having a like these type testing and turnarounds, all these kinds of things. Even though there was because it was mostly getting with large organizations, it hadn't really taken on board agile yet. And so you see a huge functional specification. And they're like, okay, this is going to be this is going to be
So you had to break it down anyway.
And so, but the thing was, those bits were like, the first delivery date might be 12 or 18 months out before they set, so the time you get it. So what they did was basically just harass the clients out, looking at it as frequently as possible, just to make sure it was doing what it's supposed to. It's I think the whole, there's this idea of the original waterfall paper which gave it the name, but I think that originally came out of like NASA. Because that was the first ones to do massive systems sort of analysis development work. And what they needed at the end of their space shuttle, the requirements changing. They changed a bit along the way, but not really. Because translated into like business, and requirements of business requirements are changing every year, every 18 months or so. Direction change, that's what I started to pull out.
What's the architecture? Because then you obviously know
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a different idea for everyone. But Agile is something I'm following now. For the most part. Yeah. Anything that anybody would add?
I would add to that. I would add what is the part of the moment? Like what is the one kind of purpose of what they're trying to build without the person's once they do that one click, they go, like they experience the product. Like the heart. It's everything like that. So what does that look like, and then kind of and then how does someone actually get to that? To it, yeah.
Where's that money coming from?
Well, in terms of how you end up working with technology or currently end up building.
Yeah, that's great. Again, another common failing of highly technical people. I'm very excited about a technical solution, and forget that it needs to be serve customer, be cost effective, and really needs to make a buck. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've got a reasonable list. Oh, one thing. What's the name of the pitch that we all covered in the last meetup that I did not get to, and I forgot?
Gabby pitch.
Yeah, can you spell it?
G-A-G-I-E.
So that's I like that because it's the sort of thing that's going to help me in my vision work. I hope it's useful for you guys too. But again, yeah, I think, like I was saying, the original intention was to go through an exercise that would introduce people who don't work on technical problems into the idea of delving deep into the hidden complexity and hidden assumptions of a seemingly simple exercise.
Add something to that as well. Also, this is in a perfect world if you've got a fully responded client. But sometimes drawing on this information without going from the stone.
Yes.
With certain clients, it's also knowing the skills to work with certain people.
Yeah.
So I suppose with our job, get all this information.
Yes.
Sometimes you can ask these questions 1,000 times and then we'll go I still have no idea what they want or what they're asking for. So that's also something I suppose is a key factor and a challenge to overcome.
And I think what's about influencing, sometimes I feel they're not doing what your recommendation is, then you somebody else something or something I agree with that. And you get forward, so that's keeping it as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to find answers by ourselves. Because if we ask the standard response will be you're the expert. That happened. They don't actually respond to all these mistakes.
Yeah. I have to say, one of the things that I say to people is, I say, when it comes to your business, you're the expert. And we need you for this project to succeed, the right way we have to. And if you can't come to the project and was sort of in project, and so that's when it comes to all these things, I'm thinking about what's the consequence for not happening, and or not getting that information, or not understanding that thing about and the consequences can be minor, but it might be severe for the success of the project.
You might end up developing a product that takes.
Yeah, well, you develop your own products, and we're not being concerned about products.
But in my highway lately, in my network, we were talking about the same issue about the customer not having any idea at all. Being clearly decisive, and one of my very first clients had no idea what to do. Like, simple idea, and that was that it's going, I don't know, you tell me. And that's when I realised that even though you're much technical, especially you guys, listening, technical expert, part of the skill is putting out the business strategy. Some people are doing it, some people no go something to business approach. If you can master the skill of understanding, like having business strategy, being active in everything, and you don't have customers in the past, understanding the whole process from the conception to the outcome, and then you should be able to figure out where the ideas fit and help you with the strategy. Because if they're coming to you with no idea, it's not going to work for you. But you want to lose that client, but you're doing it like a bad job. But what we talked about this thing is actually that's another service you can provide. Like discovery service, that strategy aspect, and make sure not just the technical expert, but the customer
yeah, so it's like, how do you provide like more holistic?
I guess it's not my problem through the technical.
Yeah.
And everyone's about it, and it's super nice to a model of everybody. Like, not do you copy something, not really want so you do. Right, and I'd be like, alright, you need to bring you to life or anything. Like, pretty much it is, like, you can do this and this, and things that I really
Yeah.
your something. Yeah, that's what I mean. And then you actually have this original idea, and it turns into something else.
I think it depends on the business and your customer. You can take a narrow focus and say, I only focus on my specialty. Or you can take a broader view and say, well, we can, even if I can't help you, we can make somebody to something like that. And I think, when we're working with small businesses, with bootstrap startups, and things like this, you kind of end up carrying a lot of the load on the things that kind of surround your speciality, because they don't realise that they do these things as well. They're like a small business person, they're not wearing a lot of hats, they're going to charge you everything. And if they come, to you or something, and you want to get those hats for them.
I think again, before that, a lot of this will come out organically as part of requirements analysis.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah, that's right.
Once people start to think about what they're trying to achieve, their minds can go on sorts of processes.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, the most sort of happens organically.
Yeah. Just to add to that, it's like kind of repeating it back to them. Like, okay, so they do use it as this. So what happens if this happens? So just making them think about scenarios.
I guess it's like two things, right? There's like confirming your understanding through these things, which is like
Good on communicating.
I'm big on free time. Email with that.
I actually think it's going to be face to face. I don't think you can assume anyone will read anything. I'm serious. If I do this, I'm saying we're having meetings every week at the max.
Yeah.
And you're going to go through this.
Yeah, I think that's, I really, really like that. And I feel a strong sense of frustration of being able to people in real time. Face-to-face events.
Pushing kids.
Yeah, that's right. It can also be really difficult to get clients to commit like an hour every week. Yeah.
I work somewhere where I live in hospital, and they're very short time, and they're in determination, so you can't really get as much information as you need. And like I said before, what the effects of things is not being communicated properly or discussed properly. It can lead to failure or things being communicated, especially if you're doing certain results and communicating that. So the importance of learning how to fully draw those questions out, but also recapping, sort of touching on, this is no room for now.
Yeah, that's right.
This communication.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of verbal conversations, and they're like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
So I'm putting on a verbal of, actual conversations and then recapping. Hey, just recapping what we just chatted about. This is the full menu.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't get so much more when I was working for my organizations. Everything that happened on the phone, really good confirmation of afterwards. It was highly deniable of what that is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said, super useful for everybody. Yeah, I love this.